Hi. So I had actually planned another thing for today that I all mapped out. I'm doing this webinar workshop for leaders in for big vet group in Denmark, and there were so many gold nuggets that were coming up while I was preparing the workshop. So I thought, oh my God, I need to teach this. I need to teach this. I need to teach this. But then I had a vet reach out to me this morning asking for help. He was asking whether I could help him or not, right? And the essence was in the end of his email, he writes, "This job is a prison." And because he's trying to get out of clinical work and maybe try and find something else, and he's had to quit his job because he's so burned out and so down at this point. And I think, to me, this is urgent, right? This is something that we need to resolve ASAP, because we only live once, and to feel that you are living in a prison because of your job, no matter what job you're in, that is just not worth it. It's not worth it, and we need to find a solution as quick as possible. So first of all, I want to say that there can come a point in your life. Okay, this is extreme, and I'm learning to be have really extreme examples because I got this Buddhist coach, and he just goes to like the other edge of extremity when he gives examples. But I want to tell you, just to get a bit of perspective, I used to have the biggest fear in my life was to get to put into prison for something I hadn't done, because I'm assuming I'll never do anything bad enough to get put into prison. But maybe something happens and I get like accused of something and it wasn't me, but I get put into prison. There's nothing I can do about it. And for me, you can imagine freedom for me is so important. That's why I work the way I do. I travel between countries. I try to always be as free as possible, have free time, have freedom in general. So for me, the being in prison was like the biggest fear of my life. I literally give me like heart palpitations, and I would have nightmares about this thing. It's weird, isn't it? Because like, why would I be put into prison? But it's just one of those fears. The only fear what I would be like, that would be something I would not be able to cope with. But let me tell you what, after I burned out as a vet and stayed away for a year and found coaching and found myself and found how my home is me, my freedom is me, my love is all about me, I can be happy in a box. And if I had to go to prison right now, I would find a way to be happy. So what I'm saying is not that you should stay in a job that feels like prison. It's fine. You just need to be happy. What I mean is that you can find a way to work around whatever situation you're in, and you can find a way to be happy, no matter what is going on right now in your life and how trapped you feel. I feel I'm gonna have to make this podcast short because I still got that bloody cold. I don't want to start sneezing on you all. I might have to pause it. Okay, so let's say you live it like that, you're in a job and as a vet, and you just start feeling all the and other things I've talked about, right? Maybe you feel judged by other vets, maybe you're not happy with management, maybe the clients just seem like the enemy now because they're just asking so much of you, and because you're burned out and you're in fight and flight and you just feel like you're being pulled from all sides. And then you kind of look around and you start fantasizing. I used to do this. I started fantasizing about other jobs that would be so much easier and so much nicer than what I was doing. But you can't find any because now you're in fight and flight, you're burned out. And when we are like that, we get tunnel vision, which means that even if the opportunity of a lifetime, I don't know, or being manager in Disney or whatever your dream would be, comes like walking right past your nose, you will not see it because you have tunnel vision from your burnout, and because of your sympathetic nervous system is so stimulated. So when we're like that, we cannot see a solution out, which then makes us think that I am literally trapped in this job. But let me tell you this. As an adult, from the moment you turn 18, your life is your choice. And I'm not saying, of course, if you're like been brought up super poor in some super poor country, and or you, like you're sitting in Gaza right now and horrible things are happening to you. I'm not saying it's your fault, right? But as a general rule, you have a choice as an adult, right? If you're living in the Western world and you have a certain amount of, you have house, you have food, you have some support, the social system, you have choices. You don't have to stay in a job if you don't want to. And if you are so worried about leaving because of finances, I want you to get super, super factual about what would happen if I left. What would happen if I went to this place? What would happen if I had to move? You need to start finding solutions and you need to look at the facts and not let your brain make up all these stories and make everything so bad that you feel trapped like as if you're in a prison. Because let's say right now that you want to leave your job. You're a vet and you're super stressed out and you're like, I cannot with this anymore. I cannot with this management. I hate my colleagues. This is terrible and I'm just so burned out. And then what is stopping you from leaving? What will make this workplace seem like a prison to you that you cannot leave or that you can't leave VetMed in at all? Let's say that you hate VetMed so much now, as I did, and other vets I've spoken to have been on that and come out on the other side. But there can come a point where we hate VetMed so much that it does seem like we just don't want to be there. And it can seem like we literally signed a contract in our firstborn's blood that we have to stay in it. Well, you don't. Let's say you wanted to leave VetMed 100%. What would stop you right now from leaving? The only thing I can think of is that would really stop you would be your financial situation, right? And your brain might stop you by saying, oh God, no, if you leave, you're not going to be able to pay the rent or the mortgage next month, or you're not going to be able to buy this, or you won't be able to pay for your car bills. Okay, I want you to be extreme and go all the way out. Say, from this moment on, you're not going to earn one single penny for whatever time it's going to take. What's going to happen? Okay, so let's say you can't pay your house. Right, so what are you going to do? Can you sell your house? If it's a rented house, can you hand it back and move back to your parents? If you lose your house, can you put it on the market for whatever price it is, even if you have to take losses and just get rid of it? Can you, if you're leasing your car, can you somehow interrupt the contract? Or can you say, I just can't pay it, take it off me, I don't care? Can you sell your car if you have a brand new car and then get like a bicycle or something? If you have children that are in a private school, will you maybe have to take them out and put them in another school? I'm not saying these situations I might be saying this, and maybe you're feeling so much resistance right now. Like, I don't want to let go of my house and wait, my kids should be in the best school. Yeah, maybe they should. But if you are so burned out right now that you feel that VetMed is a prison, you are in a bad place and you need to get sorted because your kids are not going to care about what school they're in or what house they're living in if you burn yourself out so much that there's no way back. And maybe you're not that burned out, you're just generally quite dissatisfied and grumbling, right? So it might not be that extreme, but I think we need to take it to the extreme so we can really see what are the consequences if I keep thinking like this. And I gotta be honest, I find it's really, really difficult um to think out and find solutions and be neutral and just look at circumstances. Okay, what are the numbers? How much money have I saved up or not saved up? How much am I earning? And what do I need to pay on my house? It can be really difficult when you're in burnout, but maybe you need someone to help you then, like someone a bit neutral, a friend or someone who can look at the numbers with you and say, okay, so what am I risking if I leave VetMed right now? The second thing that might be stopping you is reputation, right? Because sometimes it seems like VetMed is it. Like you can only work, like your vets now, you have to work in VetMed, but you don't. You can work in other things. You can become many other things, or you can at least get a job right now that will pay the bills, no matter what. And if it's your reputation you're worried about, or that you can't find a job that's high paying enough to keep your the standard you have in life. Maybe you need to lower your standard for a while until you can get yourself sorted out and not have this feeling of entrapment. It is the worst feeling there is to feel like you are trapped and you feel alone and there's no way out. That could drive any human crazy and you need to sort it out. I know I'm being really bossy today, but it really kills me to get messages like this from people. And a lot of you, by the time you email me or you message me or whatever it is, like you have been in this situation for a long time. That is time wasted, my friends. That is time wasted where you could be getting on with your life, getting everything sorted, turn it around, earning money another way, or somehow turn your mind around so you can love VetMed again, like I've done, and other vets I've spoken to. Like there's a lot of vets I speak to that have been in burnout, and then they come out on the other side and they're like, hey, this is not so bad because now they know how to manage all these things. There's also the possibility, if you have not worked in many places, that maybe the place you're in is specifically and very specially toxic. It's very badly managed, and the team is just like everybody against each other. If that's where you are at, then you could actually consider just moving to another practice. Like you don't even need to leave VetMed, and you don't need to leave clinical work. You could literally just go to another practice that might be much nicer. It's worth trying it out. Because if you are in a clinic that is really badly managed, that could like push anyone out of it, no matter how of a cheery person you are. But of course, if you go from clinic to clinic and none of them seem to work and you're just not happy anywhere, then obviously the problem is you, is how your perspective is and how you're managing your mind and how you're managing VetMed, being in VetMed, right? And I'm not saying that you are wrong. I'm saying that the perspective you have and the way you're thinking about it is not apt right now for VetMed. So you want to get that sorted, and anybody can sort that out, right? Anybody can, like I've done it, and I've seen so many people that have done it, like colleagues, other vet coaches I've met, clients of mine, so many that have absolutely hated VetMed and been like, I am not doing that shit again. I'm gonna do something else. And then once you get away and you get a perspective and you calm yourself down, you're like, oh, actually, no, it was just the way I was handling things. I didn't have any boundaries. I was trying to people please everybody. I had like a perfectionism of like 120% that was just stunting me and freaking me out, and so on and so on. So once you get all those things under control, then you can then move back into VetMed and be happy as Larry, but you don't have to. There's no pressure for anybody that you have to be in clinical work as a vet just because that's what you studied and that's what you did for a while. You have not signed your name and blood on some holy stone, right? It is not a prison. It may feel like that right now, but that's just because the way you're thinking about it and the way you're feeling right now. And I'm not trying to put the blame on you because I think, and it's hard, isn't it? Because once you feel like this and you feel like a victim and you feel like everything is going horribly wrong, as soon as somebody says something like this, it sounds a bit like, oh, you should just be happy. And you're like, F off because you don't know how I'm feeling, right? And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you're on burnout because of all these things, then there is a solution and it can be done like either with therapy or with coaching or going out, doing something else, get a fresh, slate and try something else and anybody can do it, right? You can feel okay, and then once you feel okay, then you can then decide if you want to come back into VetMed or not. Or like I said, you change your clinic, you go to another place and you're like, oh, actually, this is not so bad. It was just a clinic I was in that was horrible and they made me feel really low and unworthy. What else did I want to say? In general, is there's no like it's not worth being anywhere in any job that makes you feel like it's prison. To have to go to bed Sunday night and dread Monday morning because it just feels like, it's not Hogwarts Day, what is it called? Groundhog Day, where it's just like the same over and over, and you're just like trapped in this thing. That is a horrible feeling, and it's literally not worth it. If you have to maybe stick it out another month or two because finances, financially it just doesn't make sense right now. But be honest to yourself and really get the facts. Put them in an Excel sheet, like what are your expenses, what is your income, what is your situation with your partner, with your family, whatever it is, and put yourself in a situation like say if I had to leave, like what would I do instead? How would we manage? And lower your expectations, as I always recommend. You lower the expectations for your standard of living, lower expectations for all these things that might seem basic and essential to you but those might be luxuries to other people. So if you have to lower your standards a bit for a while so you can get out and breathe and then get a perspective, if that's what it takes, I would certainly recommend it because feel like you living in a prison is just not worth it. All right, that was my little rant for today, a short one because I get this, have this horrible cold. But if you're in this situation right now, then this is for you, and I want you to listen to it, and I want you to listen to it again, and I want you to set up a little plan of action of what you're gonna do next to get out of this. And as always, like I'm telling you, coaching for this is amazing. It helped me and it's helped so many others. So if you want to have my help on it, then by all means reach out. We can set up a consult, and like I always say, like I meet with you and we have a look at what's going on, and I get a perspective and I see like the 2 3 4 major issues that is going on, and then as we say goodbye, and then I send you an email and I say, look, these are the main issues I see with you, and this is what you could work on. This is if you help these 3 things, that would make your life so much better. And this is what you can do. And then you can decide you want to try it out on yourself, you want to wait a bit, or you want to work with me straight away because you want my support in this and you really liked how the consult went. It's free because I don't want any of you to spend a penny until you know if this is for you right now in this place you are in life, right? Because coaching is not for everybody. You need to be able to take some radical responsibility for your life. You need to want to change some things. You need to be open to have questions asked that you maybe haven't asked yourself before, and you have to be willing to dig in and find the answer within yourself. Because for sure, I cannot tell you, and this is something that annoyed me about my first coach, because I was like, just give me the answer. But a coach can never tell you what you have to do and what is best for you. That answer is always within yourself, and you actually know it. The only thing is that there's so much shit on top because you're all this burnout and you can't see straight right now. I've got tunnel vision, right? But that's what it is about. So by all means, like reach out to me, email me, or contact me on social media, whatever you want. I'm here for you and I'm happy to see you and just like help you make a plan of action to get out. Please don't stay wherever you are if you're feeling like it's a prison. Bye.